Hi everyone, this is video 5 for sections 3.1 and 3.2. So now we're transitioning to subtraction. So one thing I wanted to highlight is that subtraction is what we call an inverse operation. So that means that it is the reverse of another operation, namely addition. So subtraction is the inverse of addition. So that just means that whenever you have some number x and you add y and you take it and you subtract y again, well, we just get left with x, right? Because we added y and then we subtracted y and it reversed the effect of that addition. So we were just left with what we started with. Okay, so subtraction is the inverse operation. So now in section 3.2, it again talks about first using models to subtract whole numbers, but then talks about algorithms. So just like before, we're going to use a model, the number line first, to subtract two whole numbers. So just like with addition, first thing is to draw a number line, paying attention to our base. So the first one is in base 5. So we're going to draw the base 5 number line. That was a little bit too long because I need to say that it is base 5. It's a base 5 number line, so we start at 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, but we stop before we get to 5 because now we have 1, 5, a 5 and a 1, 5 and 2, 5 and 3, 5 and a 4, and now we have 2 5s, 2 5s and a 1, 2 5s and a 2, and it keeps going. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to take 4 base 5 away from 12 base 5. So we want to subtract 4 from 5. Oh, I'm so sorry. We're going to subtract 4 from 12. So what we're going to do is we're going to go and I'm sorry, again, it's not 12, it is 1, 2, base 5, because it's not at 12. Remember we had a problem like this before where 1, 2, base 5 is 7 units. So we're going to go over to 1, 2, base 5. Like I said, if we count how many units we go over 7 units to 1, 2, base 5. Okay, so this is 1, 2, base 5. And then I'm going to write this in red because we take it away. We take away 4 units. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to take away 4 units. So we take away this one, this one, this one, and this one. So once we take away 4, drawing this line the other way was a lot harder. We're left with 3. So we get that 1, 2, base 5 minus 4 base 5 is 3 base 5. Okay, so right here I want to point out a difference between the order of things. So right here we are subtracting 4 from 1, 2, but then we write it as 1, 2 minus 4. So keep in mind, we are taking 4 away from 1, 2. We are taking 4 away from 1, 2, but it's written opposite or inversely, if you will, of how we would expect it to normally be written. Okay, so this is with the number line. You go however many units, and then you go forward however many units your larger value is, and then you go backward on your number line however many units your smaller number is. Okay, so we go forwards and then backwards. So at this point, it may help you to draw arrows or color code or anything like that to know that you go forward and then you subtract backwards, because this is a little bit directional on the number line. Okay, so now we're going to go to the next example where we are switching models here to now use base blocks. So the first thing we're going to do, just like when we did the addition problems, the first thing we're going to do is to draw our blocks. So we have 3, 6. So we're going to have 3 longs and 6 units. So 3 longs and 6 units, and we want to take away 1 long and 7 units. Okay, so we only have 6 units here that we could potentially just take away. So what we're going to do is we are going to take away this long and convert that long into 8 units. Okay, so just converting it, this is the exact same amount. So now we have 2 longs and 14 units is the exact same thing as our 3 longs and our 6 units. So now I'm going to go through and read again because we're taking it away, and we're going to take away 1 long and 7 units. So I'm just going to take these away down here. So we're going to take away 1 long and 7 units. And now, what are we left with? So we are left with 1 long. Oops. We are going to be left with 1 long, and we are going to be left with 7 units once we take those away. So we can write this as 3, 6 base 8 minus 1, 7 base 8 is 1, 7 base 8 because we have 1 long and 8 and 7 units. Okay, so what did we just do? Let's write down some steps. So the first thing that we did is we draw the blocks. So we drew the blocks for the first number. Right, so we drew 3 longs and 6 units. So at this point, we did not draw the blocks for the second number, remember? So with addition, we drew the blocks for both numbers and then combined them. But in this case, we just drew the blocks for the first number, and then we took the second number away. So we're just going to draw the blocks for the first number. The second thing we do is we remove the blocks that are specified by that second number. So we take away the blocks that are specified by the second number. So in this case, we took away 1 long and 7 units. So the third thing we would do is regroup, right? So if we substituted our 1 long for our 8 units, and then we subtracted, and we were left with some units that were more than 8, we would regroup if necessary. So we are regrouping if it is necessary. And the last thing we are going to do is count the remaining blocks. So we counted that once we did that, we had 1 long and 7 units, which gave us 1, 7 base 8. Okay, so these are all the things that we did. So now let's move on to our second example. So our second example is 3, 1 base 5. So we have 3 longs and 1 unit, and we want to take away 1 long and 2 units. So just like before, we're trying to take away 2 units, but we only have 1 there. So we take our long and we make it into 5 units. And now we can subtract. So we're going to take away 2 units and 1 long. And what are we left with? We are left with 4 units. So we don't need to regroup, and we are left with 1 long. So we get that 3, 1 base 5 minus 1, 2 base 5 is 1, 4. Base 5. And that's all. I'm going to go back, box these answers. Okay. So at this point, I will point out, remember whenever we combined units into a long, or we combined longs into a flat, we drew this little arrow. So I would recommend doing the same thing here, that this long went to these units, and the same thing whenever you do it with flats and longs. Okay, so we have these two models, right? We have the number line model and we have the base block model, and what we want to consider is, do these two models, the number line and the base block, work for all types of subtraction word problems? So take a minute, pause the video if you want, think about it. Can you think of a subtraction word problem that doesn't benefit from using either of these models? So the one that I think of is this. So say that we have that Casey has 7 marbles and Dylan has 5 marbles. And we want to know how many more marbles does Casey have? So in this case, we are comparing 7 and 5. So this is a different kind of problem that doesn't benefit from these typical subtraction models.